Are you tired of boring, predictable character backgrounds in your tabletop games? Introducing Backstory Rogues, LLC. Our team of experts will spice up your character's history and add some drama to your game. Need a reason for your character to seek revenge? We can murder their family. Add a little mystery to your story? We can steal your clan heirlooms. No story arc is too wild for us. And don't worry, we won't stop at just ruining your character's reputation. We'll even embarrass their pets. Trust the Backstory Rogues to add some excitement to your game. Try us out today!
Backstory Rogue LLC is not responsible for unwanted curses or ungodly paradoxes.
Welcome to the 497th episode of the Misdirected Mark podcast. 497 episodes. Wow, tonight we're going to discuss story arcs in your tabletop role-playing games. But first, my name is Jerry.
My name is Phil.
I'm Chris.
And I am Old Man Logan.
Man, I think ChatGPT might need a spot on the show at this point too. Lord have mercy.
Just so people know, Jerry wrote the initial copy for our commercial, and then we asked ChatGPT to rewrite it in the form of a late night TV ad. And that's what you actually heard. And it's some scary stuff. There's a much bigger conversation that I don't think any of us are prepared or nuanced enough to have yet. But boy, if you haven't seen it, it's a thing, man. Like, I've been messing around with this thing for a couple weeks now. It is quite a experience trying it out. I've also been using it for work. I've been letting it edit emails for work.
Oh, there you go. I'm going to give it a go tonight while I'm at work on my lunch, probably. See what I can do with it.
I will tell you before we jump in the show, you can ask it to do some really absurd things, like write me a this in the form of that.
Uh-huh.
Like, give me a Star Wars plot in the form of a Seinfeld episode.
Jeez.
Like, it will do that.
Okay.
Wow.
All right.
I'm going to put that in later.
Let's get to some announcements real quick.
Sure.
So episode 500 approaches.
Oh, yeah.
We will be celebrating episode 500 this month. That is 10 years of Misdirected Mark podcasts.
Oh, that's right.
Feels like 70 years.
No, it feels like 10 years. It feels like a decade. Yeah.
A decade of Misdirected
Well,
Mark
it says
podcasts.
look back on 7 years of the show, but it's really 10 years.
I
of the
only
show.
guessed.
That's
I was like 7? No, 10.
Yeah, it's 10 years. We're gonna have a few guests on. We're gonna have some more details in the next few weeks about that. But yeah, episode 500 is coming, and then after that, everything will be different. I've actually already put out an announcement on Patreon about what we're doing and talked a little bit in the Slack room.
Patrons are getting our first taste of what's coming next.
Yep.
Which I'll talk about it next week, I think.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, we can dedicate some time to that.
Yeah, we'll talk about MM plays. There's your tease.
There you go.
Okay.
Vaguecast.
I wanted to just add to our announcements. Plus One Forward from the Gauntlet is ending their podcast run. So congrats to Rach and Rich for a great podcast. They are responsible for more than a significant number of my PBTA purchases. I had listened to that show, and then like minutes later, I'm on drive-through. Like, damn it!
That's funny.
Cheaper than Will Wheaton's Tabletop.
Oh,
But I definitely bought a large number of PBTA games based on their episodes, like Action Movie World.
Yeah, there you go.
What was the one, the low crime drama?
The Hood.
The Hood. I bought based on them. So many of them. So many of them. So congrats, Rach and Rich, on fantastic podcast and a great run.
Absolutely. Anybody else have any announcements they want to throw out there before we move on?
no, I think we're good.
Cool. Let's move on then.
Workshop! We're going into the arcs one more time. What's an arc? We're going to tell you. How do you use it? We're going to tell you. Haven't we talked about this before? You bet we have, but we're bringing it back before we hit 500 here in the workshop.
And don't suck.
Don't suck.
All right. I love storytelling.
What? No.
I know, right? I love it in all its various forms. I love TVs, movies, novels, short stories, audio dramas, audiobooks, podcasts, plays, video games, musicals, microfiction, epic poetry, board games, dance, and role-playing games. The last one is where this topic comes from. How does storytelling in role-playing games work? The arc was one idea we came up with a long time ago in a podcast far, far away. That would be episode 241, which I don't think exists on the website anymore. This is something like 5.5 years ago. So in our run up to episode 500, I thought I'd bring this one back for a trip down story memory lane. But to do that, we're going to need some definitions. So, Definition Panda, tell us what we need to know.
Alrighty. Let's get to a few top terms. These are actually pulled from the original 241 episode, and they have shown up a couple times on Pandas as well, in either this complete list or in a subset of this list. So if you've heard these before, don't be surprised. First one is session. This is the time that we sit down and start playing the game until we stop playing the game. So it is not a fixed amount of time. It is an event, a session. We play our Sunday evening game in a session that lasts from about 8 to 10-ish. Sometimes 7:30, but you know what I'm saying. We play on Sundays from like 7:30 to 10. That's a session. You may play a session that is 4 hours. You may be like Brett, who goes up to his gamers up in the north and plays like a 10, 12-hour session. It's still a session. That's what I'm trying to get here.
Bastards.
He only does it like once a month.
I know.
But I mean, again, session. That's what it is. It's when we sit to play, when we're done playing. Story, on the other hand, this is similar to some of the terms like adventure. If you're old school, module, scenario. It has a structure. It consists of a hook, one or more frameworks, and a set of interludes and a conclusion. It is, for all intents purposes, like your 8th grade story, right? You've got your...
If you want to go with the simplest version possible.
Hey, who doesn't love a good Freetog's pyramid?
Me. I don't anymore.
I
it
love
drives me
Freetog's
crazy.
pyramid. Fucking love
We are
it.
beyond that.
We are, but know your roots. Okay, next one is Arc.
That's true.
Next one is Arc. Arc is a related set of stories that, when put together, tell a larger story and also have a structure that consists of a beginning, middle, and end. It also has a hook. Its frameworks can be the size of whole stories, as well as its own interludes, conclusions, etc. Okay. The thing that creates an arc is the connectivity between the stories. So certain stories make up an arc. We'll get into that in a little more detail further into the episode, but they can be connected through theme, tone, the adversary, characters, locations, anything that would tie the stories together. Lastly is campaign. One or more arcs played together, they do not need to connect. You can have one arc be a whole thing and then a new arc after that. They can be increasing in scope and or complexity. They can just be one, individual arcs played one after the other. A campaign, we define a short campaign. I say we define a short campaign as being one arc. We define a long campaign as being anything more than one arc. It's arbitrary. Somebody asked us, well, what's short? Back like 5 years ago. And it's like, well, I don't know, one arc.
Here, let me even make this more complicated.
Yeah.
So like, if you want, a single story could be just an arc.
Kind of.
You can.
It can. And there's no preciseness to this.
There's no preciseness to this.
But we need you just to understand for the rest of the episode the difference between session, right, which is when you sit down and play a game, story, which is an adventure, an arc, which is a collection of adventures, and a campaign, which is a collection of arcs.
Yes. Let me even make this more complicated. You could have multiple stories in a row, and then the only thing that connects them together are the characters. So sure, it's a campaign. I don't necessarily know. I mean, it's sort of like an arc, but not really.
Yeah.
Not every campaign has an arc.
Correct.
Could just be a bunch of stories, interconnected stories.
The original D&D games. When you were just playing the modules out of the box, you were playing Ghost Tower of Inverness this week, and next week we were playing Barrier Peaks.
But by our loose definition of arc, to be clear,
It would be
it says
connected by
the
the
thing
characters.
it's connected by the characters.
That's what I mean. It's the connection of the characters that's the only thing they make it a campaign.
And
an arc.
if you go, like, if you look at a certain point in AD&D, when you got into the G, D, and Q, those adventures actually all started to connect together into a full arc.
If you played them that way, but yes.
Yeah, if you, or you didn't have to. You could play them completely out of sequence.
Yeah. That being said, everything that Phil said originally is true. Like in the most basic format, those are the structures.
Enough for, hopefully enough for you guys to all, pieces for you all to work with. So now, take it from there with pieces of arcs.
There's a variety of structures you can have for an arc, but the two most basic parts are story and meta activity. We've already defined the story, but meta activity is the part of the game that exists outside of the play during the story. There'll be some other procedures or set of mechanics that the GM and players engage in. These mechanics provide a variety of options, but their primary function is to give a way to push the arc forward, provide other branches for the arc, modify the direction of the current story, or move the character's arc forward. The GM can combine these two play modes in a variety of ways, which is another way to control pace. For example, things like downtime in D&D, free play, downtime in Blades in the Dark, the end of session in PBTA games, and the like.
Next, there's types of arcs. First, we've got a meta arc. This is an arc that can be for an entire group. Some people think of this as the main plot of the game or the A plot, and this is the primary focus of the game. Next, you've got a character arc, which is about a specific character. These are often thought of as B plots and other forms of storytelling, and in what most people consider more satisfying storytelling. And they're related to the A plot in a meaningful way. And then finally, there's location arcs. These are arcs about places and how the actions the PCs take in the setting affect those locations over the course of a number of stories.
I can't think of any other types of arcs. That seems pretty comprehensive, right?
Yeah, I think that's
Feels good.
That's pretty good. Those are very broad, right?
Yes, they're on purpose.
Yeah, on purpose. We're trying not to be too specific here. Okay.
Why don't you talk about the use of arcs?
Yeah, let's talk about continuous versus non-continuous arcs. So an arc can be continuously played from session to session, meaning that story 1 connects to story 2, connects to story 3, 4, 5, and then the arc is completed. No problem. Think of that for you people who need a colonoscopy. Think of that like a TV miniseries, right? You guys remember the TV miniseries of the 80s, right? That is a continuous arc,
He
right?
was talking about people that are like 40 to 50
Correct.
and older.
I said if you need a colonoscopy.
Yeah, but not, you know what? Not everybody in our age group is going to need a colonoscopy.
No, recommended at age 50.
You know what? For
Not
peop-
for everybody.
people who are younger than that, just think of the Netflix series.
Sure.
Jesus.
Now, arcs can also be non-consecutive, meaning that there can be other things that happen, other stories that happen in between. So you can have sessions 1, 2, and 3 all be part of the arc. Then something else happens, and then later in session 8, you pick up the arc again. The best way I can describe this is think X-Files.
Yes.
For you older folks, right?
Yep.
The I forget what they called it. They had a name.
Mythology
The
episodes.
mythology
Monster of the
episodes.
Week.
Thank you. The mythology episodes are dispersed in a sea of Monster of the Week episodes.
Uh-huh.
And so if they had just stuck them all together, that arc would have actually been pretty short. But the fact that they doled them out to you in little chunks is how they kept you on the hook for season after season after season. We're not getting into payoffs tonight, but there's a problem with payoffs in that series. Anyway, that's the difference between continuous and non-continuous arcs. Now let's get into the multiple arcs. You can take multiple arcs and thread them together for non-consecutively, creating very complex story structures. And in fact, I'll even say not even non-consecutively, you can layer arcs inside continuous stories as well.
Yes, you can.
This stuff gets a little hairy, but consider that like a character arc can easily occur inside a meta arc.
Not easily. Often does.
Often does. In fact, it's actually what makes for really good stories, which I'm going to let you guys get to in a second. But consider Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back, Jedi, etc., where those are stories that have lots of things mixed together, all going on at the same time. They just keep cutting between them, or sometimes several of them happen in the same scene. But we have a whole thing with Luke, his father, his destiny.
Yeah.
We have Han Solo and Jabba the Hutt.
That constantly comes up.
That's a constant running theme. We have Han and Leia,
Yep, their love story.
their love story. There's a whole arc that occurs all the way through all three of those movies. And then obviously into the other movies as well. But if we're just talking about the original three. And the Fall of the Empire.
Yes.
Yep.
All of that stuff is all happening throughout those movies. And you're getting a taste of each of them in each movie.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And they have beginnings, middles, and ends, all of that stuff.
Yeah, like when Leia and Han are fighting with each other in the first one, and then, it's 5-year jump, so then they're obviously into each other and have a history of situations where Han is almost getting murdered by Jabba's bounty hunters constantly, but he's still sticking around because of her.
Yeah.
I'm
I mean, he won't
99%
leave
sure.
Hoth,
Yeah,
right?
correct.
And then she comes and saves him.
And then she comes and saves him after
Yeah.
after she tells him she loves him. He says, "I know."
Yeah, I mean as arcs go, and especially as like a little kid, like those were teaching moments in terms of story.
I like that whole arc gets paid off at the very beginning of Jedi. As soon as he gets her out of the, she gets him out of the carbonite.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's a payoff right early on.
well, and it's important because there are other story arcs that need to finish as the climax, so they pay that arc off early to get it to its conclusion. Right, and then they have a little denouement in Endor at the end.
Yep.
But for the most part, they've paid off most of that arc. But the Luke and Vader one actually has a little bit in the beginning, but it peaks. Its climax is obviously the end of the movie.
Well, yeah, because it's the fight that they have.
Exactly.
And then, him throwing his lightsaber away, which means like, I'm a Jedi now, and his dad's seeing that, and he's like, oh, the Emperor's going to kill my son. That's bad.
Exactly.
And then I'm going to save my son because he, is a Jedi, like I used to be. Reminded me.
Well, there's also something that's pointed out a couple times recently, which is when the Emperor says, come take your place at my side.
There's that too.
Vader's like, wait, what?
Wait,
Oh, come on, man. The Emperor's tried to kill Vader about 8,000 times between the
not
time
to
he
mention the
became
fact
Vader
that
and then-
if you're Sith, like you have to realize there's always been two.
I
Only
imagine
two.
that. I
Yeah, but
imagine
Vader's
that
plan was to kill the Emperor with Luke.
No, I get that.
I
but-
imagine that every Sith has the same thought, which is like, I know that's how they've done it all the times, but it's different this time. I'm
It'll be different
special.
this time, baby.
Right? Like, I'm sure they all walk in it with the same mindset. And then, then you're having that moment like Dooku, where you're sitting there with no hands and you're like, wait, what? Like, wait, I thought I was no? Oh, damn. Dead.
Oh hell!
There's that moment where you realize, oh, this is the new guy.
Dooku was right. I'll go with.
The problem with Dooku, and he should have known it, was after, just as an aside, after Darth Maul died, who was clearly Palpatine's boy.
Yeah.
Dooku is the rebound.
Yeah.
He's the rebound apprentice. You don't want to be the rebound apprentice. No. That just means he's biding time for the apprentice he really wants. And that's what happened. He thought he was the one. He was the rebound. And then that moment in episode 3 is when he realizes
I can always count on Phil to
he's the
relate,
rebound.
relate anything in a story to some sort of relationship drama.
That's,
Of course.
You know,
That look, you
valid.
look at the look on his face when Palpatine's like, kill him, and he's like, what?
Wait a minute.
That moment, he's like, oh damn, like that's your boy. I'm the rebound, and then it's over.
No, that's not how that actually
That
went
is
down.
exactly how it
You know how
looks.
this would have went down? If Dooku would have actually killed Anakin and Obi-Wan, it would have been fine. Because he was like, Palpatine would have been like,
No, but
well,
that's,
you know.
sure, but then it's Dread
Anakin
Pirate
was the
Roberts.
chosen one.
Then it's Dread Pirate Roberts' time. Like, well, I guess I'll keep you around until I find something else hot. And I'll kill
My
you
favorite
with it.
part about episodes 2 and 3 is the fact that Dooku never lies to them. Everything he tells Obi-Wan that is going on when he has Obi-Wan captured is the truth.
Yeah, because guess who's got the best shot at Palpatine? Obi-Wan and...
Yeah.
Can you do something here?
No,
I'm working.
Can you just wrangle this before?
Really? You want him to wrangle it after you went off on your side?
Exactly when I want.
So we're doing a podcast.
All right.
No, I exactly want him to wrangle it after I got my point in.
Oh, I see how it is. I see how it is. All right, let's talk about length of arcs, Bob.
Thus for me, but not for you. Okay, so length of arcs. There is no predetermined length to an arc. It's fluid. All of this stuff is just a framing device to help you think about how to structure your RPGs in the long term. That being said, though, there are tried and true ways to think about this so that you're not falling into the I'm too clever trap of GMing, and you do not want to be too clever.
No.
If you think you're being clever, you're not. Stop it. The 3-act structure, beginning, middle, and end. Each of those acts is one story. So
That is super simple.
it is. It's super simple.
It also
At
is
its simplest.
completely unhelpful.
So let's
Mildly unhelpful.
let's put these down
It's
to a little
mildly
more
unhelpful.
description.
Yes,
here.
please. Please tell me what parts of it.
All right. So let's talk about a couple parts of the arc. The first is going to be the introduction or orientation. This is a time for the characters to get a feel for who they are, and a chance to introduce the main threat of the game. Next, we're going to have the threat. The arc should be about some person or event that poses some kind of harm to the world. There's going to be the rising action or the try-fail cycles.
Big bad rising action.
I mean,
dun dun dun.
I do
Exactly.
like it.
Yep. And these the characters need to work towards stopping the threat. The fail part of this is hard to do in RPGs. It's easier with success with a complication as part of the game space these days, as opposed to just the players try and fail. Next, we're going to obviously have the climax. This is the pivotal session where the threat is directly confronted. And then finally, we have the conclusion and the aftermath. This is the time after the climax to see the effects of the climax and wrap up other questions. So
Phil's biting his tongue so hard over there.
It's so hard.
Cuddling.
the cuddling, yes.
No,
So-
it's the seeing the effects of the climax. Never mind.
Thank you. Thought you'd like that.
Roll on, my friends.
Now that we know the parts, how do we structure these parts of the arc?
All right, let's talk about the structure of an arc. The arcs have these parts to them. There's the inciting incident or the hook. That is the first thing.
Got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
Yes.
Then you have the challenges that the characters have to overcome. A and B make up the introduction and orientation, and they give us the threat.
By the way, A and B is inciting incident, and B are the challenges that the characters must overcome.
Yes.
Yes.
C, the adversary getting in the character's way and presenting new and unknown challenges.
D is going to be the characters overcoming these new unknown challenges. And from B to D, you will provide the rising action. And this is also going to be part of that try-fail cycle.
I will also say this is a good chunk of the fun and games of your story, right?
Mhm.
And your arc. Like all the fun stuff and all the cool things that you want to put in your game should happen here.
All right. Now we've got E. The characters directly confront the adversary. This is your climax.
And then F, the denouement. This is the conclusion, the aftermath of the story.
So what we just stated was a slight expansion on the 3-act structure most folks have heard of and are familiar with. And it's just a fractal version of other types of storytelling. Now, let's talk about expanding this idea into the 3-story arc, because that's what we're talking about here, 3-story arc. So the inciting incident and the hook, along with initial challenges, is your first story.
Sure.
Right? That is Star Wars, A New Hope.
Mhm.
There is a thing that they dealt with. There's a thing that they overcome. Those are initial challenges. We got the bad guy, all that good stuff. B, the adversary getting in the character's way and the characters overcoming new and unknown challenges is your second story. That's Empire.
Mhm.
You can use these as models. If you never
Sure.
watched Star Wars, just go watch Star Wars.
If you never watched Star Wars, it's amazing you're listening to this podcast.
I don't. And you know what? If you haven't watched Star Wars, let us know. I'm kind of curious.
Seriously, because you're in for a treat.
Yeah.
My
No
cousin
spoilers.
walked out of Star Wars.
There's no accounting for taste.
Well, look, it's 1977. How did you know? Right? Like,
She didn't. She was bored.
Okay.
and then there's Bear. The bear just keeps talking.
How I Met Your Mother reference. Anyways, C, the character choosing to directly confront the adversary is the third story. And that happens in Return of the Jedi. They go after Jabba and then they go after the Emperor, or
Yep.
at least the second Death Star.
Mhm.
And the most important thing to put these things together is to have something to connect these stories. Go ahead.
So this is perfect, right? Perfect 3-story arc. If you wanted to have more than 3 stories, it's still this structure.
Yeah.
It's just it takes more stories to do each one of these. Like the acts are still there. You could just have 2 stories as the first act.
Yes.
Like that's the thing. Like the structure is basically there. You can compress it down, right? And again, if you compress it to like a diamond, it's a single story. If you compress it to a certain level, it's an arc. And if you want to lengthen it, you just put more stories in these spots.
Yeah, and you can have, I mean, as long as you keep that, that's why it's an arc. When you think of it as like an arc, that introduction, threat, try, fail, cycle, climax, conclusion, aftermath. I know it's Free
You
Talk's
literally just made Free Talk's Pyramid as a hand gesture.
I know. Fuck off. I love you. Fuck off. Anyways, must be a new year. Jesus Christ. Anyways, there is a way more complicated version of this. Not complicated. There's a way more broken down version of this. We talked about it. It's in Save the Cat. I think it's great. It tells you all about storytelling.
And I think that's the important part, right? Free Talk's Pyramid is not the gold standard. It's the fallback. It's the easy, digestible 8th grade. We've all seen it. We all understand it. You can do arcs with more sophisticated storytelling if you're versed in that and comfortable with it. But if you're like, oh, I barely made it out of literature, English, or whatever, and like that's not my jam. Free Talk's Pyramid is a real comfortable way to just envision this.
I will drop one thing inside of the Free Talk's Pyramid that will make Free Talk's Pyramid far more useful. Somewhere in the middle of your rising action, your try-fail cycle, you need to have a false victory or a false defeat.
Sure, sounds great.
Once you have a false victory or a false defeat, which is great because you can have either one. Like you can let the game decide how that plays out. Then after that, you basically get like, it's like kind of like a mini climax in the middle of the arc, essentially. And then Phil is biting his tongue again. After that, you then can like ramp everything up because it's a signal point to ramp everything up towards the end of the arc. Like you're basically starting like, what do we do now? And moving forward from there. Also, if the players won, what do the bad guys do now to make it to like recover?
Yeah,
absolutely. That moment right there will make everything better.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess the point is, if you are versed in other story structures, by all means, use them. You don't have to use Free Talk's Pyramid. And if you are not versed in other story structures or feel intimidated by, literary structures, whatever, feel free to fall back to your 8th grade English. This also will still work.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So tell me about arc additions, Jerry.
All right. Some things you can add to your arcs are going to be, first of all your non-related stories. Because not every session of an arc has to be related to the main threat. You can have unconnected stories, backstories, little stories that occur in between your main arc. And we've done these in role-playing games. And they work very well to just give you kind of a downbeat and also give the players a chance to explore things unrelated to the main threat. You could also have simply other arcs that occur.
Yeah, you could focus on the character arc.
Yeah.
On one character's arc.
Yep.
Make them the primary focus of a particular session or even small story. Like, or larger story if you want. Like, that's when you get to that layering thing where you can start layering things inside of each other and then it gets interesting, I guess is the best way.
It's got layers.
I'm not saying it's better or worse. I'm just saying you can have a meta arc, which is the A plot or whatever, and then you can have character arcs that go inside there that connect to the meta plot or not connect to the meta plot or a secondary plot like Han and Jabba.
Kander's return home to Elvar, and discovering the difficulties there and stuff. That was a character focused arc that wasn't part of the main
until you found out that it was.
Until I found out that it was.
Yeah, because of course.
I mean, look at for instance, look at Buffy. Buffy is a great example of various character arcs, right? Because not all characters at all times in the story have the same narrative weight.
True.
There is always Buffy, right? But then there'll be a run where there's a lot of Willow, right? They engage a Willow story arc and kind of turn that arc up for a bit and then let it kind of reach its conclusion, turn it back down, and then switch and do some other stuff.
Yeah, man. There's Xander arcs. There's Giles
Hellmouth
arcs.
started working for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's and you can have them run simultaneously. You can have one come up, come down, and another one come up, come down. There, as a GM, it's going to be what you're comfortable being able to manage all in the course of a game.
Yeah. When it comes to the moment-to-moment play of your game, the trick is making sure that the players that are at the table are on board for you being able to like bounce and sometimes just have a moment with characters to like focus on that storytelling beat for a second.
Like, I think we've gotten very good at that in Ox.
Yeah.
Ox has a moment and a lot of it is so off the cuff that all of a sudden a moment will form where it's like, oh, this is actually going to be a pivotal couple scenes for this character. I wasn't planning for this, but here we go. And everybody at the table kind of restructures to be like, oh, okay, this is where the story's going. We just had this, our last session before we took hiatus for Christmas was supposed to just be fixing Ox's automated body. which was its own story arc.
Uh-huh.
And Chris failed a roll, and one of the NPCs was like, "Oh, I'm going to help," and botched how they were going to help fix this problem. Bob's character's sister
Yes.
botched it wonderfully, which then left like all of a sudden the whole session for the night stopped. Like it paused about being about Ox's body, and we dove into a in-depth character thing.
Yep.
And then resumed.
Which really helped in a few ways because the character in question, Gamma, didn't really have a lot going on in the game at that point.
Didn't have a good hold on that character either.
And it pushed once again on my character.
A continuous arc.
How's my character's name?
Tam.
Tam, thank you. Blanking. It's been a while since we played.
It's only been a while.
Tam's idea of not being able to, like, how he trusts people.
And it was Gamma's misunderstanding that, high tension, stressful experiences create trust. So let's go mountain climbing.
Yes.
Instead of high tenseful, stressful situations that were like, we just chose to go into that created trust.
Correct.
Not ones that are created by the people that put him in danger.
And again, it was, and it's that level of certain sessions will push on certain characters. And it's okay to do that as long as you've kind of worked that out with your table. Otherwise, you wind up in a case where you're trying to balance a whole bunch of character arcs. Like back in the day when we were running Amber, I was running Amber, you were playing Amber, Bob.
Was I?
I mean, you were.
I mean,
Some playing more than others.
Amber.
But that was a game where every session I had to balance 5 complete story arcs that only occasionally crossed over with one another.
I think that is the difficult part about games like Amber and Vampire the Masquerade.
Oh, it was
and
fucking
such.
exhausting. It was exhausting. Like my notes per character per session were really small, but my overall notes were big because I had to write 5 arcs plus still manage the behind the scene arcs for the actual meta plots for the game that was going. It was a lot. And which character plot is going to touch the meta plot this week? It was. I mean, I almost dropped out of grad. I almost failed out of grad school. Not drop. I almost failed out of grad school because of that stupid game.
It is interesting because games like that are not in my wheelhouse. Like I don't enjoy them.
I think I would find it exhausting at this point.
I mean, we tried to play a couple of them. Like Hill Folk is based on that idea.
Yeah.
Like the drama system games, they're all based on that idea. Not Monster of the Week. Urban Shadows is based on that idea.
Urban Shadows, that game's tiring.
Yeah, Monster Hearts, I believe, is based on that idea.
Monster Hearts is very much based on that idea. I haven't worked up the energy yet to run that.
It felt like Cartel was a little bit based on that idea.
It will most likely be that way.
Yeah, so like there's a whole set of games that I am not. It's not that I'm not comfortable doing it. I'm just not interested in running them because it feels like the meta. I like meta plots. I like story. I like.
Well, you
story
like
arcs.
to tell us. Yeah, you like presenting a story.
I mean, I like presenting a situation.
Yep.
And then getting the players to be part of that situation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Which is hard to do in a game where you have characters that are dispersed in the narrative that can choose whether they want to engage or not. And some will, some won't. When will they, when won't they?
Yeah, and that's fine. Like, this is not for me, right? Like, those games are cool.
It's cool, but I am telling you at 20, at 21, 22 when I ran it, I was energetic and was like, rock on.
Yeah, it makes a big difference.
At 50, I'm like, it looks like a lot of work.
Yeah.
You know, I will say, I have no idea how to facilitate a game like that or provide advice for a game like that.
Surprisingly, I think you have more tools than you know because it is so much spotlight management.
Yeah,
sure.
It's a
that's a huge component.
it is just nonstop spotlight management. You're like, okay, here we go. I'm gonna do this scene with Chris, Jerry. I'm gonna do a scene with you right after
You're
Chris.
constantly taking notes. You're constantly taking
I
notes.
guess the point I'm trying to make is I don't know how to weave those into something that seems cohesive.
It's not.
That seems like a problem.
It is. I mean, it becomes cohesive when you apply a meta plot and drag everybody, like you create inciting incidents in everybody's arc to pull them into it. It's a lot of work.
Seems heavy-handed.
You also make gaps in the meta plot that you write. So you have spots in there that say things like, okay, here's our story plot. We're going to have a side arc for Bob, a side arc for Jerry, a side arc for Phil. And this is still my main plot. And we need to have an inciting incident. So whichever one of these 3 comes closest to this inciting incident, this is what I want to have happen. And I'm going to find a way to get something they're doing in that direction. And use a lot of that is done with NPCs, is putting NPCs in situations and positions so that the players will interact with them. So if Phil's trying to romance somebody, you put them in that situation where they're going to be part of that meta plot again it takes
So-
some effort,
so
but it's
here.
about slotting.
I have a thought now.
Yes,
Sure.
If
good.
most of these games that we've mentioned,
Yeah.
I think we mentioned like 4 of them. We mentioned what? Cartel, Urban Shadows, Vampire, and
Monster Hearts.
Amber, and Monster Hearts.
Sure, and Monster Hearts.
I don't know anything about Amber.
Sure.
Every single one of those other games, though, has a connecting tissue to it. The Cartel has the Cartel.
Mhm.
The Urban Shadows has the city.
Sure, Amber, you're all related.
Vampire has the city.
Yep.
So if I want my players to interact together or have a story, their personal story interact with whatever the meta plot is, my meta plot has to be something about the connective tissue.
Yes.
Bob, see if you remember. How do I start all Amber games?
With a party.
With a family party.
Oh, sure, that makes sense.
Because the whole family has to come together and it's an excuse to bring them together, and then you can drop your inciting incident into the middle of the party.
I bet Amber would be a pretty good game system to utilize to play a version of the Sandman. Because
I don't know enough about Sandman.
the Sandman, it's the Sandman, the Vertigo Sandman, they're all concepts of like death and dream and
Desire,
delirium, and they're all family. So,
Mhm.
The thing about Amber is it has so few mechanics that I don't know if it's good for any. I don't know if it's good for any game. I mean, as you recall, Fate was created when Fred and Rob were trying to create mechanics for Amber.
sure.
I would go with that. Like,
Yeah,
I
that would work
would,
better.
yeah.
So does that wrap up the this
The
chunk?
initial part,
Yeah,
yeah.
we can get to the reflections part when we talk more about
for-
this stuff.
But before we do, Bob's going to tell us about another show on the Misdirected Mark
I
podcast.
would love to. Today we're going to talk about the Gnome Cast. Everybody loves a good Gnome Cast.
I do.
Several gnomes from Gnome Stew get together to talk about gaming topics and themselves in an effort to entertain you and to avoid being thrown in the stew. Because nobody wants to end up in the stew pot.
Let me tell you, Anne just changed at the end of that show now to being, do you think we did good enough to get not thrown in the stew too? Do you all think you did good enough for me not to throw you into the stew?
It's Anja's stew now.
I
Like,
know,
that's,
I mentioned it to her one
Yeah.
day. She's like, yeah, you're right.
yeah, it's Anja's stew. We work for Ange.
We do. We do.
Can I tell you before we jump back into the show that while we were sitting here, I had ChatGPT working away.
Of course you did.
Create a D&D party in the form of a 90s boy band.
Oh boy.
Oh, no.
The charismatic leader, Trevor the Paladin.
Okay.
The heartthrob, Jason the Bard.
All right.
The sensitive one, Ethan the Cleric.
Uh-huh.
The bad boy, Gavin the Rogue.
All right.
The lovable dud, Drew the Druid.
Uh-huh.
The wild card, Miles the Ranger.
Okay.
Together, they're the adventurous heartthrobs, and they're on a quest to defeat the evil sorcerer and save the kingdom. Will they be able to work together and use their unique talents to succeed? Or will their egos get in the way? Only time and a few dice rolls will tell. Then I asked it, can you generate a few song titles for this band?
Oh boy.
On a quest for love and glory,
Great.
fighting for the crown, the power of friendship. I think that might be a Ponies episode.
That's my
Adventure calls our names, heroes in the making, saving the day one roll at a time, the rogue's lament, bard's blades in harmony,
Nice. That one's amazing. Oh my lord.
clerics and crusaders,
That's pretty good.
druids and dragons. And then I asked it to suggest an album title for this list of songs called Dungeon. It came up with Dungeon Delights. But now I'm going to have it come up with the lyrics for Bard's Blades and Harmony.
This is a show on MTV. This is the sequel to Together.
It's bad. It's bad. Let's talk about reflections. So
Yeah.
So 5.5 years later, what are some of our thoughts on arcs in storytelling?
Go ahead, Chris. You go first.
I have so many new thoughts. I actually said a lot of them already. Like what comprises an arc? I have completely different theories about it now. Like how stories are told in general. I have way more knowledge than I had 5.5 years ago.
Mhm.
How we apply that knowledge to tabletop RPGs. We've done episodes on that already about how like stories get like how do we apply this like story structure and whatnot to tabletop role playing games. That applies to arcs too. I love me some 3-act structure. It's simple. People can understand it.
Super digestible.
But man, you can break that into smaller components to actually make use of that, or use of the knowledge that exists in there, which we've talked about a bunch. And what you do is you break it down so that you can create choice points for the game, so that you can be surprised about how the game goes. You don't have to know, like you can understand these are the moments that are going to happen, which we talked a little bit about that. Like I talked about that middle point where you can either have a false defeat or a false victory. And that's an interesting, you don't know what's going to happen point. You can make up an encounter that you have no idea how it's going to end. And then, gamifying all this stuff, which is, I just talked a little bit about it. All right, that's me, man. There's so much to talk about and digest and work around with these ideas. And we barely even scratched the surface with it.
Yeah, that's truth all the way through. For me, back when this topic first came around, like I never thought about games in the ways that we discuss them and break them down on this podcast. It never used to be my thing. I have learned so much about all of these things I carry with me now. I understand more. I'm catching up with you guys to where you're like, you guys are like, you know, like 300 level. And like for the longest time, I was like looking in on the class while it was going on, going, that looks interesting. You know, I don't get half of it, but now I get most of it. And I see it now. I can recognize the stuff. I haven't put any of it to use yet. Someday, who knows?
I disagree. You put that stuff to use with the way that you play games.
Yeah.
That actually is true.
Absolutely.
You're actually the from the player's side of the equation. You can absolutely put a lot of this stuff.
Sure,
to use.
being aware of a player as where like that. Oh, this is this is the inciting incident of an arc. I will push myself
That is
into
true. That is
this.
true.
Like
I want a specific character story for myself, so I want these moments to happen. So let me either play towards it or explain to my game master what I'm looking for.
Yep. Yeah.
absolutely.
So yeah, so that's where I am with that. It's all of these discussions, not just the story arcs, have taught me a ton that have translated very well over into the player side.
Jerry.
For me, it's been recognizing these arcs and setting them up and then blending them into the campaign is what I think has made the campaigns that I have enjoyed and run both memorable and worthwhile. All of my favorite campaigns have been ones that have had an arc, and learning how to blend them together or shift them due to player attrition. I mean, the game that I GM with Chris, we started out with the ending group of players was not the group we started out with.
Correct.
And we had to shift the arcs, but it still worked. And there were some side arcs involved. There were some side stories, but overall, we still had a general campaign going and where we were going to go, even if it didn't end. And it worked. I liked it. I think it worked very well. And I like that sort of thing. I think what's important is recognizing what you want to do and using the arc structure to lay out your campaign, even if you have to make changes to it in the middle of it. Because no campaign ever survives contact with the players. You go on from there.
I disagree, but that's me.
If you have no plan, it cannot be messed up by the players.
Oh, that's an interesting thought.
Be where the bullets are not. Go ahead, Phil.
Says the guy who's literally making up his.
Best way to avoid a punch and not be there.
I mean, we've talked about the just-in-time thing before, but that is very much my approach to Ox's. I can't miss on this because I'm not telegraphing it. I literally don't understand. Like, I don't know how this game ends yet.
I won't miss on mine because I told my players this is what we're doing.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's very different. It's very different structures. I mean, my Knights Black Agents game, I didn't really know how it was going to end. It all of a sudden came together, and it was like, oh, this is the ending of the game. We've reached Act 3.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny because I used to be like you.
I know. We switched places. I used to be like you.
My Dungeon World game, I had no idea except that you're going to fight a dragon at some point.
Yeah. I have a thing for Ox. I will tell you at the end, not now, I will tell you at the end of the campaign, but like there is a moment that will come up in the game that will determine what the rest of Act 3 will look like.
You know, I'll tell you, man, I don't know the game that I'm running for those two guys. I have no idea what's going to happen at the end of it. Because what happens at the end of it is I have no idea what they're going to do with the things that they've put together. I just know that those pieces are out there and then people are looking for them.
I have a few things left to drop on the board, and then you guys will wind up telling me how Ox will end. Like that's
the game I ran for you guys was a little more difficult because it started out with the idea that I was going to run the pre-published modules with a character-based story in between each one. And so I did the opening Eberron adventure, then I did a side quest, then I did the second Eberron adventure, then you guys got involved with the murder mystery with the paintings. Then we did another, and so I was interspacing them as I went, so I knew where I wanted to be by the end, and we were going to wrap it up with the and I changed the entire plot, but that kept changing because I had players drop out every other week because of time schedules, and the entire player group changed, and their focus was very different than what the original group was doing.
Then there was a pandemic.
Yeah, and we added more players, and so that became something interesting to see. But it was still fun. We still had arcs because the characters had the character-based arcs became more important than the plot-based arcs. The relationship between Chris's character, Bridget's character, and Schmitty's character became much more important to the campaign than the actual story arc itself.
Yeah, 50% of that game was just all bantering.
Yeah, which worked. But it became...
Which,
well,
was fantastic. Feel like
yeah, it was just much more... It became the more interesting part of it. Yeah. And so I shifted the focus of the game from the straight plot that the original players wanted to the character-based plot. And sometimes you can do that with arc. You can change your arc focus.
You can.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And the thing is, like, there'll be a time where I'm going to run a game where I will have a very specific idea of what I want to do. And that's fine. It's going with what works for
that story.
I think so much of Ox, I had no, like, it was such a premise of an idea that we just, like, jumped into and tried that I was like, I don't even know if this thing's going to work or not. Like, I'm not putting a whole lot into a meta plot on this thing because I don't even know if Cortex is going to be something we like, if this game concept's even going to work. Like, and then that all happened, and it was like, oh,
This is
like
a thing. This
By the end of
I
week
probably
2,
should put some more tracks down.
by the end of week 2, we figured out that thing had some that thing slapped pretty hard.
Yeah.
It was, week
Yeah,
1 we
it
were a little
was-
clumsy. Week 2 we were like, oh.
But it very well could have also not.
yeah.
Right? It is very possible we could have played it and been like, it's all right. There's no way of predicting that. So I was kind of going casual. And then I just, from that point, I was like, oh, I'm not going to overly telegraph this thing. I kind of want to see where, it goes. I kind of want to see part of it. And this falls under a thing Chris loves. Like, there's also like a little bit of a social experiment. Like, I'm going to present the thing and see how you guys react to it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to go pull a thread and see what either tightens or unravels.
I mean, let's be honest. I mean, the best thing you had going for you was had amazing players, and I mean that.
I mean, the thing doesn't run itself.
not wrong.
Like, I only put disasters and some clocks out there. You guys have done the rest of the lifting on that.
You listen really well.
Yes, you
I
do.
mean,
You do.
You provide.
That's literally all I got right now in this game. Is I'm listening and reincorporating, like that's
last
It
time I
works.
checked. That's what Vincent
Ah, it's-
Baker said was a role playing.
it's working. Don't get me wrong. I'm very pleased with
I will
it,
say
and I
this,
love
But the
they
game
do.
feels, even though we all know it's not plotted out, the game feels like
like
it
it's
is.
plotted out.
Yeah.
Doesn't it?
No, it feels like a TV show.
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
It feels very much like a TV show, and I like that feeling.
And it feels like there is an endpoint to the game.
Oh, there's definitely an endpoint.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, let me tell you that 100% there's an endpoint
Right.
to this game. That I'm sure of. What I don't know is how you are going to react to
which
the
is okay.
Do
endpoint.
you want me to tell you why Ox is really good? It's because Phil is good at setting up things and then paying them off.
Yeah.
And then we are really good at playing characters that
Oh.
provide him places to set up things and then pay them off.
The stuff that you guys provide
Yep.
is invaluable. Like, I mean, I'm putting out the disasters, the little bits of history or whatever. The stuff that you guys come back with in terms of character stuff, in terms of playing off failure, in terms of playing off of theme, like different themes like family and stuff like that. Like, that's all you guys. My job is then just listen real carefully and cycle some of that back into.
Which is a very useful game master skill to have.
Yep.
by the way.
Yep.
You should just listen and reincorporate.
There you go.
It's one of those cases where when everything coalesces, it works.
Yeah.
And it can happen in any game. It can happen with any group, and it's hard to predict because this same group, we could be playing some other game, and it may not gel the same way. There's a high chance that this group can pull off a lot of different games, but we might, you can always hit a dud, which is why I'm always grateful when they work like this.
Yeah.
The thing that Bob talks about, the Elvar stuff and his character Candor, we built that culture together. Like, I didn't do it by myself.
Yeah.
And as soon as he did, I'm like, all right, cool. I'm just going to build one of the pieces of the game around that because it's there and it's easy to do. The other stuff is like legacy stuff that I'm still, they're all invested in it, but it's not, I don't know how it's going to be. I'm going to have to work pretty hard to make it anywhere near as good as the stuff that had just happened because of how that function, how the actual like character connection to it.
We shall see.
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll turn out great.
I'm sure it'll be fine. So,
All right.
Phil, what about you, man? You didn't even mention your arc stuff.
Yeah. So ever since this episode, I've actually been very deliberate in using the terms that we defined, like session. I don't mix session and story and stuff like that. When I say session, I mean session, that kind of thing. And I've carried those on like for years now. And we've even talked about this in part in Pandas. And again, I've brought back these terms and and defined them again, in Pandas as well as here on the show. And like for me, when we first wrote this down and had the initial discussion about it, it cemented for me a lot of stuff that I was doing instinctively as a GM, but now I do very deliberately. I look at the pace of my arcs. I decide, am I going to do a continuous or non-continuous arc? I think about what are my character arcs and when do I want to push each arc into the game and which ones do I want to focus on a given game, that kind of thing. Like, I always think about my games like this now. And it just from the time that we sat and had the initial episode to now, it's only cemented that for me. Like, the stuff that we talked about just works. It works. And if you think about it in these terms, you can very easily manage all these pieces as you take them out as individual arcs and you think about each one. What is the try-fail cycle for this character's arc? What is the try-fail cycle for this meta arc, etc.? And then start piecing them together. So yeah, it like, as this show has always done, we often do a thing where we take a topic, we define it, discuss it, and then I am also a recipient of the advice that we generate, right? Like that stuff feeds right back into my own stuff. So yeah, this is all like, I love that you picked this episode because this one was always a part of my lexicon from the day that we defined it going forward.
It's one of my favorites. All right.
Cool.
Bob walked away, so we're going to go to the conversation corner now. I'm going to press that bumper for it. All right, so we are in the conversation corner, and we're going to do that one thing that we like to do in the conversation corner. Jerry, tell us about your one thing.
A surprising movie that I watched was The Invitation on Netflix. This stars, I can't remember the young lady's name, but she played Domino in Deadpool, Nellie Emanuel. It's a gothic story about a woman who discovers that she's got family that she didn't know about in the UK, and she gets invited to a family wedding, and then things go awry. I liked it a lot. I didn't know anything about it going into it, and it was fun. I don't want to spoil it for anybody. If you liked Crimson Peak but thought it needed a better story, it's that kind of feel. It's a modern dark gothic romance. It's got some genre stuff to it, so you'll probably figure out what's going on about midway through it, if not before. But the acting is good, the story's good, the resolution of the characters are interesting. There's a lot of fun little Easter eggs in it. If you are a fan of literature, you'll also figure out what's going on because they drop a couple of fun names in the background that are neat.
I mean,
but it's good.
You said it's gothic horror romance, and it's called The Invitation. It's probably something with vampires. But don't say anything. I'm just gonna guess.
It was a fun little thing. So I just enjoyed it. It was a movie that I was puttering around doing something else and just tossed it on in the background to watch while I was working on writing something. And I multitask all the time. And very quickly I was like, oh, this is fun. But it's helped by the acting, the story, the pacing is really good, and they set the atmosphere up really well. It's just fun. It's not gory. It's a little bit of blood, but it's not super gory. But it's a fun little story with it's more of a thriller. It's fun. I think that a lot of our fans would enjoy it because it's a good storytelling.
I always love a good story.
Yep.
All right,
Chris?
Mine's The Recruit. So The Recruit is a new show on Netflix. It stars Noah Centineo playing Owen Hendricks, the recruit who is like, when the show opens, it's day 3 at the CIA, and he's a lawyer. So he doesn't work in operations. He works in the law department, which means they're the people that deal with all the stuff to make sure that nothing terrible gets out so that the CIA doesn't get like lambasted in the media.
Sounds like a terrible job.
It is a terrible job, and it is hilarious. Every episode has an acronym as its title, and the acronym is something that is said in the episode. When I've looked it up, I'm like, oh, that's what they are. I've been trying to figure out what these acronyms are the entire time. It's a pretty good show. It's got a nice, strong story through line. It's actually fairly dramatic. Like, there are funny moments, but man, it's a grip the edge of your seat kind of show at times.
Good.
And this poor lawyer, because he's a lawyer, right? Straight up lawyer. The times that he gets in way over his head, which is kind of his MO, like he goes out and has to like run around for like, doesn't get to sleep for like 48 hours because he's going back and forth between Phoenix and DC and dealing with a prisoner and dealing with his boss and dealing with the backstabbing in the office. It's the CIA apparently based on the show. I like it. I would give it a pilot +1, which is what a friend of mine told me. Just watch the first 2 episodes, and if that is
pilot +1.
Yeah, pilot +1. If that gets you, if that doesn't hook you, then turn it off. If not, I think you'll probably watch all the way through though.
That's good.
Cool.
That's the Recruit.
Cool.
Next,
Cool.
Bob.
Yeah, so the first season of Star Trek Prodigy wrapped up last week. It was an interesting decision that they made. They did 20 episodes, but they did 10 of them in a block, and then they had a big break, and then they came back for the second 10 episodes. But that just wrapped up, and I found it to be highly entertaining, very Star Trek-y, for a show that is definitely aimed at kids. I mean, it's a co-production with Nickelodeon. They had some moments in the 2-part finale where it was like, ooh, interesting. Okay. I'm like, that seems like it might be just a little on the heavy side for kids, but for Star Trek kids, maybe, the Star Trek kids are savvy enough to be able to take a little more heavy. But to Jerry's points about the show, it starts out with a bunch of character development to start with all of the major characters. And one of them does not start out very likable. No. But they all have arcs. They all have good arcs. Yep. They wrap up in what I feel are satisfying ways. There's some wild action. There's a ton of callbacks.
Is it motorcycles jumping?
It is not. It is not. It is not music videos. It is not music videos for sabotage. For sabotage. No.
Yeah, I saw the first 10 episodes, and I thought that the end of the first 10 episodes did a really good job of making the characters all likable. It's not a long crawl.
Yeah.
The mid-season, you've got out. You're excited. Go ahead.
Yeah, the second half is very good. It's got like I said, there's callbacks to previous Trek stuff. I mean, you've got obvious connections to Voyager because of Janeway. I don't want to give too many details because I don't want to spoil things, but it's fun. Is the thing that I would the big word that I would use. I think it was fun, and I'm very interested to see where they're going to go next, especially with the way that they wrapped it up. So, Star Trek Prodigy, good stuff.
Sounds good.
Phil.
I watched over the weekend. I watched actually both Knives Out and Glass Onion, but I want to talk about Glass Onion. No spoilers because it's still pretty new.
I like Glass Onion.
No, I haven't seen
What
it
a
yet.
fantastically enjoyable movie.
Yeah, it was.
First of all, I like Knives Out. I thought Knives Out was also really good, but I liked Glass Onion even more. I thought Glass Onion was even a better mystery story. I liked the characters a bit more. As much as I like Daniel Craig as James Bond, I love Daniel Craig as Benoit Blanc,
He's
the gentleman detective.
Fantastic.
Like, what a fantastic character. And the accent is also amazing. But yeah, I watched the movie and I love how this is Rian Johnson, right? So I love how the story has a non-linear component. Like, it goes up to a point in both of them, and then it like reveals something and then jumps back and starts over again in a way. Not like I don't want to give anything away, but there's some non-linear story techniques that are really good for how they tell the story.
Is that the kind of thing where they tell you the story up to a certain point, then they go back and they basically get a different character's point of view?
Yeah.
They rush him on it.
Yeah. And it's great.
It's perfect.
Like the detective stories are just, if you like classic whodunit detective stories, like, they're just fun.
Have you seen Brick?
No.
You need to see Brick.
Okay.
That was one of his early ones with Joseph Gordon. Brick is a Maltese Falcon, Dashiell Hammett kind of story told in 1990s high school with Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and almost all the dialogue is very 1920s style detective noir. I think you'd like it. It's also Rian Johnson.
If you guys haven't watched Glass Onion, it's worth watching.
Yeah,
The cast is unbelievable.
Yeah.
And everybody is playing exceptionally well. Like, every actor is just doing everything they can to make this thing make sense.
And it's a really cool cast. Like, the casting is like all over the place because it's for Glass Onion, it's Daniel Craig, Ed Norton, Janelle Monáe, Catherine Hahn, Leslie Odom Jr., Jessica Henwick, Madeline Klein, Kate Hudson, and Dave Bautista.
It's ridiculous.
I mean,
That's a hell of a cast.
It's and like I said, everyone's phenomenal in it.
They're great. So no spoilers, but I'm going to talk about one little scene. Everything you need to know about the characters, Rian Johnson encapsulates in a very modern way. There is a scene where they all first meet each other and they're wearing masks. And if you look at how each one is wearing a mask, everything you need to know about those characters is summed up by
That's true.
the masks they're wearing and how they're wearing them. And
That's clever.
it's very clever. It's one of the first kind of movies that takes COVID into it. It very quickly dispenses with it, but it takes COVID into account because it takes place in 2020. But it's such a brilliant little detail added to the scene that adds like a whole bunch of texture to the rest of it.
It's funny because he'd already done it too with the opening sequence.
He did, but then did it again.
Yeah,
I don't want to spoil it because I know Bob hasn't seen it.
I haven't either. So.
It's worth watching.
Yeah.
It is
I'm just waiting to watch it with my
completely,
wife. So
completely worth watching.
Knives Out is also fantastic.
yes,
Knives Out's excellent. Yeah. If you like Knives Out, you will absolutely love.
This doesn't disappoint.
And as far as I'm concerned, Rian Johnson can just keep taking Daniel Craig and making more of these detective movies.
There is a scene where Yo-Yo Ma, the world's most famous cello player, just shows up to explain a fugue.
Just
Like how a fugue works, what a fugue is. I'm like, all right, like
pops right in.
when I saw it, I'm like, pretty sure it's Yo-Yo Ma.
No, that's 100%. That was Yo-Yo Ma. Yeah,
Just all right, Rian Johnson, whatever, it's cool.
he makes films.
Yeah, it's just great, just go watch it. You will not be disappointed. And like I said, I will watch Daniel Craig as this character forever.
Yeah, me too.
Like, they could just keep just making more of these. And Rian Johnson apparently writes some cool ass mysteries. Like, they're fun, they're enjoyable mysteries. Anyway, that's my thing.
And that's it. That is our show. Let's go to the Patreon show.
All right. So big thank yous to Troy Sandlin, Chris Constantine, Mirko Frolik, Eric Simon, Kathleen Halperin, Lars Henrik Evjan, Christopher Melch, Michael Beck Esprum, Joseph Knoll, and Carlos.
Thank you all so much.
Yes. Thank you.
If you've enjoyed this podcast, you can get more content like this at misdirectedmark.com, where we have
That's not true.
it's not true.
It's a lot.
We have a lot. We have a lot of podcasts.
A lot of them are not there
Me say
anymore.
many.
Yeah, honestly, it's a lot to host on a server.
I will tell you though, if you really want to hear those back episodes very shortly, you'll be able to if you're part of our Patreon, because
Yeah.
they'll all be sitting in a Google Drive folder where you can just download them.
Exactly. But just to be clear, there's still a bunch of stuff on the website.
There is.
Like you can still, there's many hours
Whole
of
bunches.
podcast material on the website. There's even more coming in the archives. Anyway, catch episodes of our various shows. And again, we'll have a bunch more in our Patreon at patreon.com/MMP.
And those bunch of episodes include a lot of the older shows or other shows in the Misdirected Mark Network, such as They're a Super Geek, Bone Stone Obsidian, Pandas Talking Games, The Gnome Cast, Bonus Experience, the all-new Thacko with Advantage, and the amazing back episodes of She's a Super Geek. And if that still isn't enough content for you, I suggest checking out our sibling podcasts like Tabletop Bellhop, The Knights of the Night, GM Mastermind, and Mastering Dungeons.
And if that's not enough, no, I'm just kidding.
What? There's more?
What?
There's
Wait,
more.
But
There's
wait,
more.
There's not.
There's not. There's not.
Do you need more?
You
I
do
don't
not.
think you need more.
You actually need to start playing some games.
finding podcasts is hard.
Now, Milton, don't
Ouch.
be greedy.
Take that advice and go play some games. All right. What you can do is at any point in the course of your arc of your game, leave us some feedback.
Please.
Hit us up on the old-fashioned emails at mmp@misdirectedmark.com. You can check out Twitter. Some of us are still there-ish. Some of us are also lurking on Dice Camp.
Look, man, I have to tell you, the Misdirected Mark Twitter tweets more now than it has in a while.
Yes. Which the Misdirected Mark Twitter is at Misdirected Mark, which you could follow. You can check out Robert M. Everson.
Yeah.
You can check out GM Gerrymander and The Light 101.
Mhm.
And I'm DNA Phil. And I'm also DNA Phil on Dice Camp. So if you want to check me out on Dice Camp, I'm there as well.
Is
There
Dice
you go.
Camp worth going to?
It's not bad. Here's the thing. It's very Twitter-like, but since it's not fully adopted, I have like 175 followers on Dice Camp. I have like 2,100 followers on Twitter. There's some rebuilding to do.
Sure. I mean, I don't, that's not the part that bothers me. It's just like,
The signal to noise is very much game. Dice Camp is hosted by Sage Latora.
Mhm.
You will recognize a whole ton of people. People that we know from Slack, people we know from Twitter are also there.
sure.
That's Dice Camp.
That Patreon that we mentioned earlier with the whole bunches of episodes there.
There's whole bunches.
Whole bunches. If you want to support us and other shows from Misdirected Mark Productions, you can do that at patreon.com/MMP. As we've said before, your patronage will get you access to the After Show podcast, our show notes, the Bamboo Lounge podcast.
You'll definitely get these show notes.
Yeah. And other special releases sometimes, which, you know, who knows?
Also, access to our Slack room.
Yes.
That's important.
Slack room is very important.
Yeah. Well,
Muy importante.
with that, this has been a Misdirected Mark production, which is still the media arm of Encoded Designs, I'm pretty sure. Aren't we still the media arm of Encoded Designs?
Sure.
I feel like
think
They're
so.
still in Encoded Designs. They're
Interesting.
just still making media. We're gonna hook
We
them
have
up.
arms.
We have arms, lots of arms.
Well, mic drop.
We out.